So, folks, welcome back to Journey Through Wellness. I am Andy, your host from Shuddh Desi Radio. Namaste.
Namaskar, and I am Shalini, and today we are diving into one of the oldest science in the world that still holds the secret of modern living, and that is Ayurveda.
You know what? Ayurveda literally means the science of life. It's not just about herbs or home remedies, it's a complete philosophy on how to live in harmony with your body, mind, and spirit.
It sounds amazing, but also like something we could all use right now. Between fast food, fast lives, and faster deadlines, balance feels like a luxury these days.
Absolutely. And that's why we have the perfect guest today, Kumar Bathala ji from the Art of Living Foundation, who has been sharing Ayurvedic wisdom with people across the world.
Kumar ji is an Ayurvedic practitioner and he also is a hardware engineer based in Austin, Texas. He's also been teaching yoga and meditation for 10 years for Art of Living organization. He also trains the teachers. So he's a teacher and who also trains the teachers. And he is going to help us understand what Ayurveda really is, how it fits in our busy modern lives, and even share a few simple daily habits that can change how we feel every day.
So, with that, would like to welcome Kumarji. Kumarji, so wonderful to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Andy and Shalini. Very nice to be here. Namaste, everyone.
So, Kumarji, let's start with the basics in this session. So, we all have heard about Ayurveda in, oils, spa treatments, some sort of teas, etc. But what is Ayurveda really?
Very good question. Like Andy, you introduced earlier, Ayurveda literally means the knowledge of life, the science of life. And Ayurveda is based on the very fundamentals of how we are made up of the 5 natural elements. And if you notice, actually, before that, oftentimes people are trying to lose weight, right? And sometimes somebody is very slim and thin, and no matter how much they eat, they don't lose weight. And there is the other category of people who are eating very little, exercising, and still find it so hard to lose weight. What is the difference, right? And how do we address this? How do we understand this? Ayurveda has an answer for this, as well as the very basics of Ayurveda, which is based on the fact, like I was saying, that the whole world is made up of the 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. And so is our body. Our body is also made up of these 5 elements. Now, depending on which of these 5 elements are predominant in our body, there are 3 different doshas or energy principles called Vata, which is more air and space predominant, Pitta, which is more fire and water predominant, and Kapha, which is more earth and water predominant. Now, and each of these principles have their own functions. For example, one function of Vata is movement, ingestion of food, elimination of waste, circulation of blood and nutrients. One function of Pitta is digestion, transformation. One function of Kapha is to give us strength, energy, immunity, right? So fortunately, all of us have all the 3 doshas and all the 5 elements in our body. And as long as they are functioning optimally, we are in good health. Also, what is interesting in Ayurveda is that based on which of these 5 is more in us, there are unique body types, what we call Prakriti. So a person can be Vata type, in which case they will be very slim, thin, dynamic, flexible, sometimes even restless if there's an imbalance. Then there is the Pitta type, who's more organized, has leadership qualities, has very good digestion, medium build, sharp eyes and features. And if there's an imbalance, they can be very hard on themselves and others. And then there is the Kapha type, where there is a tendency to be on the heavier side physically, but they're very nurturing, nourishing, taking care, all these qualities they have. When there is an imbalance, they can become too lazy. And there are different combinations of these. So understanding what somebody's prakriti, constitution is, and what is out of balance is the fundamental principle of approaching treatment or correcting the imbalances in Ayurveda. And also, Ayurveda has more than just herbs to offer, more than just herbal teas and massages to offer. There is simply changing one's diet can be a powerful medicine. Simply changing when one sleeps and when one wakes up and becoming in tune with nature can make a huge difference. So in Ayurveda, we don't address just using a herb or just using a treatment, but we address the person as a whole. So that's unique about Ayurveda.
So I have a question. Thank you first of all that for such elaborated explanation about Ayurveda. Now the question adjacent to that is that how does this ancient science stay relevant in today's world of technology, stress, and caffeine and addiction and whatnot? So how it is relevant in today's life?
Yeah, Shalini, actually, it has become more relevant than ever before, especially in the past few years, especially after COVID-19 pandemic, and everyone looking for ways to immune boost themselves. And Ayurveda is really becoming more relevant. If you notice, there is so much stress today in all walks of life among all people. And the very basic cause or root of all of this comes back to our diet, lifestyle, and mindset. And Ayurveda addresses these things primarily, like no other system does. And that is where looking at a person as a body-mind system, in fact, it is not just body-mind, spirit, and more, in a holistic way. What is missing in some approaches, maybe you want to cut this out. What is most relevant about, what is most unique about Ayurveda is addressing this person as a whole and not just addressing a certain condition or a certain disease in the person. And that makes Ayurveda very relevant in today's day and age.
Wonderful.
That's very fascinating to know. And I'm loving how Ayurveda doesn't just talk about symptoms, but it focuses on the balance also. And you were talking about Prakriti. I'm thinking maybe I'm that second Prakriti that you were probably mentioning about.
You might well be.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, okay, so which one I am? I think I fall in Pitta category. So now let's move on and let's talk about one of the coolest things in Ayurveda that always amazes me, and that is Nadi Pariksha, or we call it pulse assessment. So Kumarji, can you explain how Nadi Pariksha works and what exactly the practitioner looks for?
So Nadi Pariksha, as the name suggests, Nadi means the pulse. A simple translation of Nadi is the pulse, and Pariksha is the assessment. So it is pulse assessment, as we call it in English for ease. So an Ayurvedic practitioner, a trained Ayurvedic Vaidya, is able to hold a person's pulse, usually on the hand, right hand for men, left hand for women, typically. And just through the three fingers and what's happening under the three fingers, we can decode the person's prakriti, their constitution, and more importantly, what is out of balance. Is there vata out of balance, which is causing, say, dryness in their joints? Or is there pitta out of balance, causing some hyperacidity or headaches? Or is there kapha out of balance, creating some sluggishness in their system, poor digestion? And also more specifically, where in the body the imbalance of the different doshas is. Once we have that, we are able to address that person as a whole using herbs, diet changes, lifestyle changes, etc. Now, what is unique about Nadi Pariksha, pulse assessment, is that we can not just understand what's happening in their body, but also get an insight into their emotional, mental state also that helps us address the whole system.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty incredible actually to know. So it's not just checking one's heartbeat, but just by looking at the pulse, It's like reading your whole body's energy map.
No, beautifully put.
That is correct. It's not just sensing the rate of the pulse, the pressure of the pulse. It is more than that. It's actually, we look for the doshic imbalances through the pulse.
And like you earlier said, Kumarji, I really love that Ayurveda focuses on the prevention and just not the cure about it, and it just um, goes to the root of it and then try to balance out your whole body and the internal system. I had experienced it once, Nadi Pariksha, and it was really wild. And you just sit there, and then Vaidya feels your pulse, and somehow they can tell what's going on inside your body, physically, mentally, emotionally, without me telling a single word. And they could just read me top to bottom. That's like really magical.
Wow. So let's bring this to daily life, Kumarji. Ayurveda talks about dinacharya, daily routines that help us stay in sync with the nature. What are few simple habits anyone can start at home? Those who are watching, those who are listening.
Great. So some simple things. One thing that everybody can do is do a self-oil massage. This really helps reduce the vata imbalance in the system. And vata imbalance is usually, vata is the dosha that gets easily imbalanced because it is light, air and space elements, right? So most people are prone to vata imbalances, especially now in winter. That happens very easily. And also as we age, our joints tend to get dry, and other issues, hair fall, etc. So doing a self oil massage daily before taking a warm shower. So I would recommend applying oil all over the body, sesame oil, coconut oil, depending on the season. Wait for 5 to 7 minutes and then take a warm shower without soaping off the oil. This has, in fact, the text says that when one practices this daily, one can fight old age, or when one can delay old age. So it helps one stay youthful and also brings a glow and nourishment to the skin as well as the deeper tissues. The only time I wouldn't recommend someone do this is when they are sick, when they're having poor digestion, or when they're having their periods.
Okay. That's wonderful to know, because I'm going to start doing that from tomorrow onwards. I remember when we were little kids, our mom used to do that, put the oil in the body, and especially in winter season. We didn't know the significance of that now, but now I know. So I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other very simple change one can make to their daily routine is sleeping early and waking up sooner. And making this a practice. Sleep by 10 p.m. or go to bed at least by 10 p.m. and waking up closer to 5:30, 6 a.m. This itself can improve one's sleep efficiency and also how efficiently the body functions throughout the day, how the digestive organs function throughout the day. The other thing, especially in winters, is to sip warm water or some warm teas with cumin, coriander, fennel, ginger, depending on their dosha. These would be the three main things I can share as a simple daily regimen to adopt for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I love that, and our viewers, listeners, gonna love that too. These are like simple, doable things. They don't have to go out of the way to do these things. Waking up early, sleep early, sipping the warm water, and oil massage your body. So all doable, and yet somehow we cannot do that. So, but then maybe we can start doing in New Year.
Yep, absolutely.
And the way I started when I started with Ayurveda many years back was take one thing at a time, because if you try to incorporate 10 things, it can become overwhelming and hard to form a habit. But if you can take one thing every 6 months or every year, it becomes easy.
Okay. So since we are basically saying, taking that small steps and all that. So before we wrap up, Kumarji, for all our listeners who want to experience Ayurveda firsthand, what's that something simple they can do this week? You talked about, the oil massage, etc. What is it that they can do this week?
Yeah. What should be like their starting point?
Their starting point can be making a note of what time they're waking up, what time they're going to bed, and what time are they eating. And to begin with, the body would really function well if there is regularity to it. Okay. So just correcting the time of each meal. If you're eating 3 meals a day, then having lunch around midday, having dinner before or by 7 p.m., having breakfast around before 9:30, 9 a.m. Having and also making it a habit. I'm not saying exactly at 12:37 you have your lunch every day, but having a similar window of time, that itself can create a certain balance in our body. And that's a good place to start.
Very nice. So basically, it's a simple thing, sleeping on time, waking up on time, and having some sort of routine for our daily things.
Yes. If you're exercising, having a similar time of the day every day for exercise. If you're meditating, having a similar time of day. Just that regularity helps balance the very first dosha vata, and in turn will help balance the other doshas.
Beautiful. So I'm gonna take your advice, Kumarji, and that's what I'm gonna do from today onwards. What time I'm sleeping, what time I'm getting up, and what time I'm eating. So I'm just gonna keep check on my time. That's what my starting point is.
Very nice.
Same here. I'm going to start that also. I think one of the important thing that Kumarji mentioned was having that routine. I think with this, day and age where we get on a, phone watching reels, we don't have sense of time as to, what time it is. So sleeping early, waking up early, that's something that I'm going to try practicing for sure.
And
Great.
one thing I want to ask before we say goodbye for this today's session. We talked about Nadi Pariksha and we're talking about Ayurveda. So if our listeners, they want to register for getting their assessment done for Nadi Pariksha, how do they do it? Where do
Yeah.
they register?
We do offer Nadi Pariksha or pulse assessment, both in person and online. We can share the link. They can book a 30-minute session with us. And then we can, based on our assessment, we can recommend diet changes, lifestyle changes, as well as herbal protocol to anybody who's interested.
Wow. And you said the Nadi Pariksha can be done remotely as well.
Yes,
Oh,
that
that's
is correct.
very good to know, actually.
Yes,
And I think, I understand a bit as to why they call Ayurveda the science of life. It's not about adding new habits, it's about listening to life itself.
absolutely. You nailed it.
Beautifully said, Andy. And to all our listeners, start small. A few mindful minutes, a glass of warm water, or even noticing your breath can be the beginning of the transformation.
So, folks, this was Journey Through Wellness, exploring how ancient wisdom can guide modern living.
Until next time, stay balanced, stay mindful, and keep that inner glow shining. And don't forget to listen to us on Shuddha Desi Radio. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
And thank you so much, Kumarji, for joining us today and sharing your views on Ayurveda.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Shalini and Andy. Namaste.